All right, let's dive right into the deep end of Joki fusion. We're going to break down this incredible power system, really get into the metaphysics of how things you can't even touch, like your will, your personality, your emotions, get forged into actual, tangible weapons on the battlefield. And it all starts right here. This one line from Master Ken. Well, it's the foundation for everything we're about to talk about. This is the core principle. See, it's not just about who can shoot the bigger energy blast. It's about how a fighter's inner self, their sheer force of will, actually shapes and directs their power. This idea is what turns Joki from raw energy into a deeply personal, strategic tool. So before we can even get to the crazy fusions, you have to understand this crucial concept: wavelengths. Think of it like a metaphysical fingerprint, totally unique to every single person. It's a mix of your personality, your natural element, and, this is the most important part, the sheer vastness of your life experience. The more you've been through, the more you can fine-tune your wavelength. And that's the key to everything: adapting, empathizing, and ultimately outthinking your opponent. Okay, let's lay the groundwork. In this first part, we're going to dig into exactly how these ideas, individual will, personal experience, are basically quantified and turned into weapons within the physics of this world. Now this is where things get really interesting, because this simple rule just raises the stakes for any kind of teamwork to a whole new level. Fusion Joki isn't just mixing two different colors of paint. No, you are literally fusing your wills together. And that means if you mess up, it's not just a backfire. It's a fundamental clash of who you are, a clash of personalities that can become super unstable and seriously hurt the users. Teamwork here is a metaphysical bond. So now that we get the risks involved in literally merging your minds, let's get into the tactical playbook. We're going to cover the rules of fusion, breaking down how these individual wills are combined to create something way, way bigger than the sum of their parts. Master Ken lays it out beautifully in 3 distinct categories. It's almost like forging a new metal alloy. You've got amplification, which is pretty straightforward, right? Wind makes fire bigger. Then you've got catalyst, where one element kicks off a totally new reaction in the other, like heat creating a storm. But transformation, that's where the real artistry comes in. You're fusing 2 base elements to create something that didn't exist before, like earth and fire making molten rock. The combo you pick literally defines your entire strategy from the get-go. And here's the kicker: going from a 2-person dual technique to a delta technique with 3 or more people, it is an exponential leap in difficulty. It's not just about adding another power source. It demands this insane level of mutual understanding, of genuine affinity for each other. It's pretty much the ultimate test of how well a team actually clicks. All right, time for our first case study. Let's see how all this metaphysical theory gets hammered into a winning strategy when the pressure's on in a really high-stakes fight. So here we have a head-on collision of high-speed metaphysics. On one side, you have William Phoenix using killer ghost concealment. He moves so fast, he just vanishes. It's a strategy all about stealth. But on the other side, Josek's using killer ghost oscillation. He creates clones of himself by vibrating at an insane frequency. His goal isn't to hide, it's to overwhelm his opponent's very perception of time. 2 totally different philosophies of speed. And the counter to this is just a masterclass in strategy. Look at how each step builds on the last to take away the opponent's main advantage. First, they create a physical maze to rob him of his speed. Then, get this, they make the maze invisible to rob him of information. After that, they turn the very air into a trap by ionizing it. And the final checkmate? Josek and Burns sync their personal wavelengths, letting Burn attack right through Joseka's defensive field without getting hurt. Absolutely brilliant. What they pulled off there is a perfect example of a technique called terrain alteration. See, they didn't just fight on the battlefield. They used their combined will to literally reshape the environment to their advantage. It can be debilitating, like creating that invisible maze, or it can be enhancing to give your own team a boost. It's like creating the ultimate home field advantage on the fly. Okay, next up, let's see how all of this builds to the absolute peak of Joki fusion. We're going to explore how a team stops just combining their powers and starts fusing their very wills to become one single brand new entity. Now this is fascinating. You've got 2 completely different philosophies for this ultimate fusion. On one hand, you have projection. That's kind of like following a blueprint. One person has a clear mental image of the final form, and everybody else syncs up to become that specific thing. But then you have augmentation, and that is pure alchemy. The final form isn't pre-planned. It emerges in the moment, built from the team's current skills and willpower. It's way more flexible, totally unpredictable, and it evolves as the team evolves. And this just brilliantly shows you the secret to making it work. It's a total paradigm shift. It's not about just stacking 5 power levels on top of each other. No, it's about synergy. It's about specialized roles. For their armored Golden Phoenix form, you've got a sword for pure offense, a shield for defense, a mind acting as the coordinator, an amplifier to boost everyone, and healers for regeneration. Every single part is essential. It turns the team into a perfectly balanced metaphysical machine. And this is the incredible result of that fusion, the Talons of the Phoenix. It's an attack that goes completely beyond the physical. Because they finally understand that Joki is a manifestation of will, they learn to channel positive emotions, hope, courage, you name it, directly into their attacks. The fight is no longer just about fists and energy. It's a true battle of wills, weaponizing feelings to deal metaphysical damage. It's just mind-blowing. And now for the final exam. We're going to see all of these principles, wavelengths, terrain alteration, fused wills, put to the ultimate test against an enemy who is basically pure chaos and speed incarnate. I mean, seriously, think about that. That's the strategic puzzle the team is up against. Their opponent, Raichu, he's not just strong, he's a logistical nightmare made of pure lightning. He can hit an entire continent at the exact same time. How do you even fight that? Normal tactics are completely useless against someone who defies the very idea of being in one single place. Raichu's plan is actually super clever. He uses that massive, overwhelming attack not as his main weapon, but as a giant diagnostic scan. He pressures all the defenses at once for one reason, to find this single, tiny flaw in the system. And he finds it, the air vents. His plan is to just sneak his energy through those vents and take everyone out without ever throwing a real punch. But here comes the checkmate. The team uses that same metaphysical analysis to turn Raichu's own brilliant strategy completely against him. They predict, they know, he's going to go for the most obvious weakness, so they turn that vulnerability into the perfect trap. When he sends his energy currents into the vents, they just sync their own Joki to his wavelength, ride that current all the way back to the source, and bam, deliver the final blow. And this quote from Harry Q, this is the insight that wins the entire battle. They didn't win by matching Raichu's insane power or his unpredictable speed. Nope. They won because they had a deeper, metaphysical understanding of his character. They knew that his habit, his need to exploit a weakness, actually made him, in a weird way, completely and totally predictable. So, in the end, this all shows us that when your will literally becomes your power, the real fight is always happening in the mind. Any physical defense can be broken, but a strategy built on understanding your opponent's very nature, well, that can turn their greatest strength into their biggest downfall. And that kind of leaves us with one final big question to chew on, doesn't it?